All right, so I have a couple of these kids in my class, and one of them is like fairly a nerdy type. And he was telling me like, "Oh, Mr. Wilcox, we developed this card game." And I was like, "Oh, that's cool." And he's like, "Yeah, it's based on all the teachers at the school in the school building." And I went, that sounds like a problem." But there was like a fair happening on Wednesday for the school. So it was a bunch of kids who weren't in class. So I had this kid and one other kid, and I was like, "All right, tell me about this game." And he's like, "Oh yeah, I don't have any of the cards, but let me show you." He pulls up this PowerPoint, 50 slides. Each slide has multiple cards. They're all version controlled. Like it's like version 1, version 1.1, version 1.2, version 1.3. They have like over like 150 cards that they've done iterative design on. It is a full legit playable card game. But like all the cards are just like the pictures of the teachers' faces from the yearbook.
That's so funny.
Whoa. That is almost obsessive.
It is the craziest thing I've ever seen. I told him, I was like, "Listen, I need this. I need a copy of all the cards. I need a copy of the rules. I'll pay you. I'll give you $100. I don't care. I need you to get this to me." And he was like, "Oh yeah, we play it every day during lunch. I run a club after school on Thursdays." And I was like, "You need to bring the game. Come in on Thursday. I will play with you. Let me design my own card. I don't care. This needs to happen." Because like the go-to issue would be like, yeah, it's great. The go-to issue is you'd be like, "Oh, the kids are like being disrespectful." From like what I've seen, it's not. It is like,
whoa,
just like cards that have like mechanical uniqueness that are dependent on like subject area. But then they also have like factions. So there's like a Mr. Wilcox card, but then there's like a Mr. Wilcox card in the ice faction. And those are like two mechanically distinct cards. I'm baffled. It's the funniest thing I've ever heard.
I'm just amazed that they're able to do it in a way that isn't blatantly disrespectful, because I don't know a single child 100%. That I knew who would be able to do that.
100%. Like, amazing. I anyway, I needed to tell more people that, because everybody I tell that to is like, "Holy cow, that's insane."
Yeah.
Anyway, welcome to Overthinking Games, a podcast about what games can teach us. Usually video games, but I guess children's card games in this case. I'm Seth. We're going to have a fun episode today on gambling, because it needs to be talked about at some point, I guess. Otherwise, Katie is on somewhere, sabbatical.
Yeah.
Something's happening.
She died.
She's going to float in and out for a little bit. But I'm also joined by Dempsey.
What's up?
I'm here too. By Brett. Hi, Brett. Name Brett.
Yes.
Not teacher, but Brett.
Not teacher, but Brett.
I don't know. Can't speak.
Who still has not changed his name in the Discord, but that's okay.
I refuse.
I've been waiting to call you out on that. But before we get to our topic today, which is going to be gambling, what have we been playing this week, Dempsey?
Okay, so I have been playing Silksong. I have 62 hours in Silksong, and I'm not yet out of Act 2. So this is like a straight up Elden Ring situation where, so there's I am stuck in between two fights, and that is the I put it in the Discord, what's it called? The High Halls. High Halls, which fuck that fight. Fucking hate that fucking piece of shit game.
What is that fight?
And then
wait, did you not do it, Seth?
No,
it's like at the end of the
I definitely
halls.
did.
It's just one of those bullshit mini fights, like with a million enemies.
It's where it's a gauntlet that's 10 rounds, and you fight two mini bosses at the end at the same time. And
I think I remember that one.
Yeah, so I hate it so much. I have spent hours upon hours doing that. And then I was like, you know what? I took a break and I went and I got double jump. So now I have double jump. And I was like, I'm going to explore a little bit more of Act 1 with double jump to give myself a break. And so I went back to Act 1, and then I found another boss fight called the Forge Brothers, And that boss fight also really fucking sucks. And I think like
that's a good one.
I hate it so much. So there's a couple things. It's just like the thing that I don't like about this game is the multiple enemies. Like that's it. Like that's the extent of my complaint, is that any boss fight where you have to split your attention has become a wall. That's the first one I was stuck on, which is a sweaty beast, was him and his little minions. And then this one is like a gauntlet with multiple enemies, and then there's the Forge Brothers, which has also been very difficult. There is some things that I really like about the experience of throwing. I think I want to do a topic on this one day, because I really like this. That was my experience in Demon Souls, is where I kind of threw myself at very difficult bosses. If I feel like the only boss I cheesed in Demon Souls was the one that took away your levels, because I'm not doing that. That's not happening. I'm not playing a game that does that to me. And so that I clipped through the map, and I, attacked him before he registered me or whatever. But so as someone who really in Elden Ring, there was the only boss that I was really, really stuck on was the Fire Giant, in which I was stuck on for like a month and a half. And that was also like continually throwing myself at the boss. But the thing is, like, about the Fire Giant, or about like any of the Demon Souls bosses, is that I feel like I could learn. Like, I feel like I could like absorb information, learn about the boss, and position myself. I just don't feel like my mind is fast enough to do that here. Like I literally feel like keeping my eyes on one guy, and then out of the corner of my eye clocking another guy is winding up for an attack, is just incredibly difficult, especially when their attacks take up like a third of the screen. Like, and then it's like two of them, and so it's like 2/3 of the screen. And so I've been told that we should think of Silksong as a platformer. And so the idea is, behind thinking of it like a platformer, not like a combat game, is you're thinking about where to position Hornet, not how to get Hornet to attack. And so your first priority should be positioning, and then you should attack when you're able to. And that has helped me a lot. I've gotten further. I've made it to the last stage of both of these bosses now by learning that. But I have not. I think I learned that with the Clockwork guys, which was an incredibly sad fight.
Yes, it was. I agree. 100%.
That was a really, really beautiful fight. And it sucks that this is the next boss fight. It was like the Clockwork fight, which is like really elegant and beautiful and poetic and just so good. And then the next fight is just a 10-wave gauntlet, which feels so horrific and awful. I like the shard system, so I am running out of shards now, which I have not done yet. But now I'm running out of shards, and I like it because it forces me to go do something else for a while. So I will throw myself at the boss, and then I will be like, okay, I'm not doing this without thumbtacks. I'm just not doing this without thumbtacks. So then I go, and I know how to buy shards now. So even if I just farm for money, I can go buy shards. So I farm for a little bit, explore some other places, and then come back, which I really like. The fact that the game forces me to do that, especially the type of people who are going to be stuck on a boss, because if you're stuck on a boss, you're going to be using all of your tools very often. And so like if you're struggling and you're using all of your tools constantly, I think that's a formula for frustration. And then if you're in that frustrating loop, it kind of mechanically makes you go do something else. So like that element of like balancing the experience, I appreciate. If it was just one boss that I could focus on, I would not mind just doing the bench, going right back again and again and again. But like, just like I'm jumping to get away from one attack, and then the other guy doesn't start his attack until I'm in midair and then gets me. And like, that's such bullshit. Anyways, so that's where I am. I've literally played nothing else. That's it. I am 60 hours into this game. We'll see if I give up. We'll see if I make it to Act 3. I don't know if I will, but we'll see. Anyways, Brett, what have you been playing?
I was going to say, I need to follow up because I love how we have had the exact same trajectory in Silksong, where we're stuck at the exact same spot and did the exact same thing, where it's like, no, screw this. I'm going to go get the double jump and then go and do, and then literally ran into the Forge Brothers, which I ran into the Forge Brothers with 1 heart after like getting through that section, and I beat it my first try. And I don't understand how. It was insane.
Jesus
and I'm just like,
Christ.
I don't know how I did it. I had no tools left. And I again, don't understand how it happened, but it happened and I'm so glad. I was so scared that entire fight. And then, yeah, so right now I'm stuck between the High Hall Gauntlet and the first Sinner, which is a terrible fight. I don't understand. That fight
I love
sucks.
that fight.
It's
so good.
No, there's too much happening at all times and there's barely any openings for attacks and it frustrates the shit out of me.
Felt fantastic.
Oh my God, you masochist. That fight is really frustrating me. And then there's also another fight in that same area. It's like this fat worm that keeps giving birth to little flying things, but you have to beat a gauntlet before you beat it. I don't remember what its name is. It's from a side
the gauntlet
quest.
Before the boss.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's from a side quest. It's like, it's in the slab. And the description for the side quest is like, oh, there's like a mother bug howling for her babies or something like that. And then you go to the slab and it's just like crying until you beat it. But I can't beat it. I don't know what it is. It's like doing the gauntlet before. Okay, I can do the gauntlet. Something about this boss. I get tripped up every single time. And I know exactly what the problem is, but I can't do it. And so I'm between that, the High Halls, the Sinner, and I'm at the point where I'm just running around doing anything else. I've gotten like 2 full extra health dutes since.
Sure.
It's like I'm doing so much exploration. I'm doing anything other than those fights because I will drop off the game very quickly if I have to keep doing those fights. So I had to buy a game in the meantime, or I had to start playing another game or else I'm going to go crazy. So I started playing TCG Card Shop Simulator, which is like, I love that, like Superstore Simulator, like that whole thing. It's like a little... My wife and I will just sit there and like play them sometimes and we'll manage our store. We'll kind of like do it together. And I love those games. So I bought TCG Card Shop Simulator because I've also been playing a lot of in-person Magic the Gathering lately. And I really want to like buy packs and buy more decks and do stuff, but I don't want to spend the money on it. So I'm like, oh, I'll go and rip virtual packs. Yeah, Seth holding up just a... And
I just ordered a new commander deck.
What's the commander?
Borborygmos Enraged.
Yeah, let's go. So that's what I've been doing, is managing a virtual card shop because it's very peaceful. And I have to say, I actually really appreciate this game on a lot of levels because it's just one of those kind of like janky simulator games where people are really uncanny. They act strangely. Nothing looks particularly polished. It's just very strange and surreal looking, but they got a bunch of different artists to like actually make artwork for these cards, and it
like
looks
legit
like
card art.
Yeah, and it looks like they have like full arts, they have different versions, they have alt arts, they have foils. There's like all different like versions of the cards, and they all have very nice artwork. Like it's all kind of like very simplistic, but like OG Pokemon kind of vibe. And I really, really appreciate the clear amount of effort that has been put in to kind of make it seem like there is actually a card game that is within this little universe that's here. That's been really sucking me into it, and I really like that. I don't know. I was gonna say the thing is
I don't
like
think so.
I haven't unlocked the ability to, if there is, but like all the cards have, you can read all the abilities on the cards. They all have their own colors. They all have their own abilities. Like each creature has its own like attack, like whatever. Like everything is all statted out, and it looks like it should work, but I don't know if it does. I hope that they do make it a thing that you can play it eventually. Although maybe that's like too much. I don't know. Maybe I don't need that.
I mean, a bunch of high schoolers did it to make fun of their teachers, so.
Yeah.
It's true.
And then lastly, I started up The Witcher 3 again because I played through it during COVID times, and I got like halfway through the Blood and Wine DLC, but then I put it down because another game came out that I wanted to play, and I haven't been able to get back into it. But Witcher is one of those games where I've started Witcher 3 like 3 times, and I have to start over every time I go back and play it after an extended period of time because I forget how to play it. It's just one of those games that I don't know why it just doesn't stick with me. So I have to like restart it every time or else I'm just screwed. So I kind of restarted that again, and we'll see. I'm hoping to finish it this time. Hoping. But what about you, Seth? What are you playing?
I have a lot to talk about. So I am actually... I am on the precipice of 100%ing Silksong. I think I'm literally at 99% completion, and I just need to do the final boss. Overall, good game. Every time I am about to get on the podcast, I'm like, oh, I have some things I want to say about Silksong, and then I completely forget all of them as soon as it happens. As for all of you guys' issues, skill issue, get good. No.
Sir.
Legitimately though, like something that helped me, I think, for pretty much like all boss fights is if you get the upgraded Mossberry tool. So you know the one you got at the start of the game that like when you take damage restores some silk? If you collect all 5 Mossberries, the upgraded one gives you 2 silk instead of just 1, which really increases your survivability in these like long fights as you get hit a lot. And it is like super worth it. Something to consider. Also, I used a lot of the default crest for a lot of my fights, just because like the Wanderer one with like the Hollow Knight style jumping is just like a little too short. My recommendations, but
yeah, that's why I like the Reaper Crest. I find the Reaper Crest is a good like middle ground between all of them. That's the one I stick with most of the time.
See, yeah, I pretty much only bounced between like the default Hunter Crest and then the Wanderer Crest. Like those are really the only 2 I used. Just because like anything else felt a little awkward, but more power to you. Like of the things that I'm frustrated about for Silksong is not even like I feel like what a lot of other people are annoyed at, like boss fights. And this I feel like comes from like my sort of Dark Souls Elden Ring mentality. I'm like, I'll beat boss fights eventually. Like I've had, no matter how bad the fight is in Silksong, I'm like, I've had worse fights. So like I'll do it a little bit and then, I don't know, lose like 10 times. And then I'm like, all right, I'll come back to this. And then, you know, I go play a different game for a bit. And eventually come back and you beat it. I actually I've come around to liking the little gauntlets. Some of the long ones were a little annoying, but it is like a little bit of it's a little bit of an endurance test, which is annoying. Oh, also, are you guys using the tool that gives fast binding? Makes your heals go off quicker? I
switch on and off it. If I'm in a really tough boss fight, I'll switch up. Yeah, sometimes I'll switch on that one if I feel like I need it.
100%. I have literally left it on since the second I got it. Because if you think about how the game is designed to like they have to give the player some openings to heal, or else the game would just like really suck if there was literally no opportunity to heal. So if you think about it as just like increasing your opportunity to heal, and it's like way faster. I don't know how much faster it is, but it's got to be like 50% faster heal. Like it just means it's a lot easier to like squeeze it in and get it off. And like it's been one of my permanently on tools, and I think the game would have been significantly harder if I wasn't using it. So that's my big recommendation is use the faster binding tool. I think it'll make your life a lot easier.
Okay, I'm writing that
down. What else for Silksong? By the time I got to the end of the game, like my main complaints have just been, how am I supposed to find any of this stuff? Like, this is something I wanted to talk about last week, but I forgot to mention it, is that I think there are too many areas of Silksong that are behind hidden walls for like not a lot of reason. And like the entirety of Bilewater is behind hidden walls, and I didn't even know about it until after I beat Act 2, rolled credits on the game, and was like, okay, I'm gonna pull up a map of the game to see like where I need to go. And there's this gigantic area that I never even explored and I had no obvious path to get to. I guess that's kind of supposed to be the point of like the flea hunt, is being like, here's all these fleas you missed. Oh, look, they're in spots of the map you didn't go to. But there's a couple things like that I wish were like a little bit better put together. But like there's minor pathing complaints overall, I think. I don't know. I'll probably be able to produce some final commentary for Silksong once I get closer to like 100% achievements. But it's going to be a while because I think one of the achievements is like beat the game in under 30 hours with 100% completion. And like
oh my, what? No. No way. That's ridiculous.
Well, and there's one of the other achievements is beat the game in under 5 hours. So I was like,
that's crazy.
Well, there used to be, when the game came out, they had 2 achievements, one of which was for beating the game in Steel Soul, and the other of which was for 100% of the game in Steel Soul. And I was like, I'm not doing that. Doesn't sound fun. What else have I been playing this week? I've been finishing up on Borderlands 4. I got maxed out my character level, and now I just have some like farming to do and random grinding and like pick up all the little collectibles, which like I haven't gotten around to, but not because I don't want to, but just because I'm now at the point where I'm like, okay, I hit most of the story beats. I could just kind of like come around to this whenever I feel like it. And I've just been thinking about other games. So I was like, I'll loop back around to it. That's my Borderlands 4 talk. Some computer games I've been playing, which sort of inspired our topic today of gambling. I was on the Steam store earlier in the week, and I found this game called Unfair Flips, which you guys should go play. It's great. It is like $2. It's a game about flipping a coin. And how does the store page describe it? A non-idle clicker game about flipping a coin that hates you. Starting with just a 20% chance of getting heads, can you get 10 heads in a row? The whole game is you just flip a coin. You have like a 20% chance of it landing on heads. And if it lands on heads, like it gives you some money. And then you can like upgrade it up to, I think, like 60% chance of landing on heads. And the game is over when you get 9 heads, or when you get 10 heads. Genius. Fantastic. 10 out of 10. You literally just like sit there and you just like flip a coin.
This reminds me of computer science class in like grade 11. We had to make a functional game for like our culminating project. And it's like this is the exact kind of game that people made.
Yeah, no. So, but this is like, I do not know how to properly describe the feeling of elation that comes from like flipping a coin and it hits like heads, and you're like, we're at 3, and then it hits 4 and you're like, oh, we're at 4. Then it hits 5 and you're like, ah! And then it hits 6 and you're like, ah! And then the 7th is like tails again, and you're like, my life is over. I hate everything. And that's it. That's the whole game. It's fantastic. I like accidentally discovered it the day it came out. I was literally just like looking at the Steam store on like new game releases, and I was like, oh, this looks fun. And it somehow got picked up by like a couple of YouTubers and stuff. So there's a few people who played it. But I got the good ending. I got 10 flips in a row. That's the other funny thing about this game. So it has achievements. There's 5 different endings, all of which are achieved on a completely random chance. As you would. So I got the 10% good ending.
I think if 20% chance, if my math is right, if 10 million people play this game, one person will win it the first time they play.
That's funny.
Wild. Crazy.
You well,
good.
I think it's roughly like a 1 in 10 million chance to get 10 with just 20%.
Wow. Someone
will do it, hopefully. And they'll be like, wow, that was a dumb game. And they'll close it out.
This game sucks.
But for $2, it was... Now, I think I completed the game really quickly. I only have a 36-minute playtime. I think I got like a crazy lucky streak, and I was only at like 50%. I think
this would be so fascinating to see like a normal distribution curve of how long it takes people to finish the game. Like, I feel like if any game needs like an insane amount of player stats, it's this game.
It's this game, 100%.
I'm sure it does collect them. I wouldn't be surprised.
Because that's fascinating.
Oh, they had patch notes. Fixed a bug where getting 9 heads in a row, then failing on the 10th head, then getting 3 heads in a row, then failing again would result in the spacebar controls not being responsive. Interesting.
What an insane bug. What a super specific bug. That means the fact that they had to have patch notes for that means that they had to recreate the bug, which makes me laugh.
Good for them. So anyway, that game is $2. It's called Unfair Flips. You should go play it. It's good. I've also been playing this other game called Clover Pit. Clover Pit is another sort of like slot machine deck builder roguelite, very similar to Luck Be a Landlord, if you played that. But this game has like the vibe of Inscription Part 1. Like it's got this like sort of gritty, I don't know how would you describe that art style? I mean, you guys could go take a look at the game.
Yeah, I can picture what it looks like.
Very like PS1 style horror vibe.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. Very well put together game. I think it's a game that has an opportunity to like get more content, but it's just another one of those games where you're like, oh, this is all gambling. Pick 3 options of like, oh, hey, what upgrade do I want? Upgrade 1, upgrade 2, upgrade 3. It's nothing like revolutionary, but it still just got me on this like, what's the deal with gambling? Which feels like a very human problem. But
speaking of what's the deal with gambling, Jerry Seinfeld with our topic.
So yeah, I was playing Clover Pit. I was playing Unfair Flips. I have Luck Be a Landlord on my phone that I play sometimes, and I was also just thinking about like how much of a gambling problem there just is in general. Like Rachel and I watch a lot of YouTube, or we watch a lot of like Peacock streaming service, and so we'll see these ads and it's like FanDuel Casino, sports betting, and that is a game that is on a phone or somebody's computer, right? So like in a loose sense it's a video game designed to like strip you of all of your money, but it's a game. So like, what is it? Like what's the deal? What kind of, pitching our sort of starting question here. What are some games that you guys have played that like have gambling elements? How did you engage in them? What was that like for you?
I guess it depends, because gambling I feel like it should be more. I think gambling, you have agency in how much you bet, but you don't have agency in the outcome. So, for example, there's a lot of games like Baldur's Gate that rely on RNG in which you do not have agency in the outcome. But I don't think it's gambling because you're not betting a certain amount of anything on that dice roll. And then there's games where you bet, but you have control over the outcome. So like in Silksong, there's a mini game that's like a carnival game where you pay $10 to play, and I think you get like $20 back or whatever, but you have to do it perfectly. And if you're good enough, you could get your money back every time. So I think both of those examples are not gambling. I think for something to be considered gambling, you have to put up currency of some kind, like a standard, understandable currency, and you have to not have any control over the outcome. Because I think as soon as you have control over the outcome, that's more of a bet, which I think like the difference between a gambling and a bet is that gambling, you know, like on a roulette wheel, you have no control over whether it's on red or black. But if you bet someone that you can beat them in arm wrestling, you can be strong enough and have good neck technique to beat them in arm wrestling. So I guess that's That's what I'm thinking of gambling. When you do a slot machine, you don't have control over when that hits jackpot. You cannot be good. If you can be good at it, I don't think it's gambling. So by that metric, I don't think a lot. I'm trying to think of games that, because I don't think I would find that very fun. I don't know.
Well, because then, like, okay, so for something like, so Clover Pit here literally is like a slot machine.
Sure.
That you spin. But, you know, because it's a game, you have a lot of control over, like, what's happening in the slot machine. Like, you can make it so certain symbols appear more often. Or, like, you're guaranteed to get, like, certain patterns after so many spins.
Sure.
Or the game has a luck mechanic where, like, if you have 5 luck on a spin, you're guaranteed to get at least, like, 5 matching symbols. So if you get 15 luck, all of the symbols are guaranteed to be a match, and you get, like, a guaranteed jackpot.
Sure.
So, like, there's gameplay ways to manipulate what's happening.
Yeah. I guess I would say that, like, it might start out as, like, what I would consider pure gambling, and then the more agency or strategy, like, that you can build stuff up with, it becomes less gambling. So I think if we think of gambling as, like, a spectrum, but, like, I'm trying to think, because there's dice game, like in Cult of the Lamb, there's that dice game, you go to that guy's cabin, but I don't think that's gambling. There's luck involved in that game, and you place down money, but, like, you're controlling which dice to take in and out and things like that. So, like, in Cult of the Lamb, so that's not really a gambling mechanic. I think in Silksong, where you play dice with that lady, that feels a lot more like gambling, because you have no control over whose dice will be higher or however that game works.
You actually do, fun fact. But
I don't know.
There's ways to manipulate it that people found out. But
I didn't. Sorry. That's crazy. But I think what's hard is that the only entertainment value in gambling is personal loss, and in a video game, when it's not real money, it's hard to make that interesting. So I think video games really rarely put actual gambling in their games because it's fake money, and so that's not very interesting. Whereas I think actual gambling, like DraftKings or, you know, sports betting and things like that, I think that is a lot more about, like, not being good, but the personal loss that you can feel if you lose, which I think, like, I don't know many people who gambled, but when I ask them why they do it, they tell me that it's because they become more invested in the game. Like, it's a way to make the game a more emotional experience for them. Right? Like it's the ticket, it's an extra ticket you pay for more entertainment.
Right, but it's almost, I think that's part of with especially, like, sports betting, right? Because how do I best describe the thought process? I saw a video a while ago that described this really well, but it's not like, it really is more gambling than betting, right? Because, like, let's take the example you gave where, like, you know, betting has some more of your own personal agency over it. Like, poker is a game that is more about, like, betting than gambling, right? Like, you have a lot of agency in a poker game, and it's really like a game of skill against the other people at the table.
Sure, bluffing, like, and social cues and things like that.
Yeah. And the fact that you can even just, like, fold and just get out of it if you know you have a bad hand or you know you're not going to do well. You can just opt out until you get a better hand,
over thousands of hands, and, like, blackjack is loosely like this too if you card count. Like, over thousands of hands, if you do it correctly, you will come out in the positive. But if you look at something like, and I think this is kind of the insidious thing about calling it sports betting, is that, like, you can't be better at putting money down on things other than, like, the emotional investment in doing so. You can get better at realizing, like, oh, the odds on this are incorrect, and if I put money towards this set of odds, like, I have a better chance of winning than what they predict, and therefore I'm going to end up in the positive. But, like, you don't have any control over the outcome of, like, your favorite basketball team other than, like, I don't know, they've been winning.
Yeah, but there's,
like, what I mean?
So there is a certain element of, and so this is, okay, so I know several people who claim to, I'm not going to put any credence to their claims, claim to have basically a secondary income off of sports betting, and that they would not be able to live their life if they did not have this secondary income strictly from sports betting. All of them say it started out with $100 and then it became, no one will tell me a number, but it's like, I don't either. But I know there's one guy, and he did. So the one guy, I have done sports betting one time. I put $20 into a Bet365 account, and I did it for one season. I was incredibly bad at it, and I realized I was bad at it. And so I stopped, because I'm just like, okay, I invested $20. That's it. There is a certain amount of, I think with sports betting in particular, there is a lot of agency. And only you can guess trends very well, where it's like, okay, this one person has been doing really well, like this entire thing. I'm just gonna, so like there's a thing you can do where you can basically make a bunch of different prop bets that are entirely unrelated. And as you keep adding to those bets, so if you add like 10 bets, you get exponentially more rewards if you get all of them. So it's instead of making like
parlay,
an extra,
right?
like, yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what it's called. So it's like, you can, I think there is a tact to it more than like if you're playing a slot machine or something like that. Obviously, you have no agency at all. But I think there's a ton of agency in sports betting in particular that does make it more of a bet and less of a gamble if you know how to do it. For someone like me who's bad at it and who's like on a fantasy team and doesn't ever win, it's bad for me and it's gambling for me because I don't understand it well enough to understand how to play it that way, I guess.
I disagree on the basis that these organizations are making an insane amount of money.
Yeah.
Right. And I think the primary audience for something like this would be somebody with that exact mentality, being like, oh, I know better than the people who like professionally set the odds for these things. Right. Because like at the end of the day, you're going to win money you're going to win money consistently if you can find where the odds are set incorrectly, because you and every other, because here's my other thought. You're going to get beaten by a computer 9 times out of 10 if you're just following trends, right? Because like a computer can identify trends much better than you can. And so I should find the video because you guys would probably find this really interesting. There's a guy who sort of did this exact thing. He went on exploring like sports betting apps and everything. And what he found is like if he did this like correctly, like really hunted for like odds that were off and like only put certain money down in certain places, they would just ban him off the apps. Like if you try and gamble correctly, they'll just kick you out. Which to me means they're making money hand over fist from all the idiots who are like, oh, I know better. Because why else would this be so insanely profitable that it's just like completely popping off?
I mean, that's the thing is I think like most people who are, well, okay, so like staying on sports betting for like another second, I think most of the people who do prop bets on sports are like a bunch of dudes who are just drinking beer on Sunday and like watching a game and are not making good bets. They're going to lose their $50 almost every single time. But it's like if they're doing $50 a week or whatever it is, it's like, but then you have like hundreds of thousands of people who are doing that every single week. Maybe a tiny percentage of those people are actually making their winnings back. But you have these like hundreds of thousands of dumbasses who are doing this every week just to piss their money away. So like, even if they're, I'm sure that they're banning people for maybe botting. Like, I wonder if they like think that this guy's botting just because he's actually playing it correctly. Like he's playing it like a computer would. But it's like, there are going to be people who can game the system and do it like very effectively if they pay attention to it. Because I think most of the demographic who are actually playing it are like not paying attention in the slightest and they don't care.
Right, but does that not like show a greater issue about, because the platform's not honest, right? Like it's not a platform designed for you to make money, because as soon as you start making money, they pull the plug on you.
It's incredibly predatory.
Right. And so looping back around to like the other broader video game side of things is my thought about like, okay, so like I can play a game like Luck Be a Landlord, or I can play a game like Clover Pit, which are like literally games about like spinning slot machines. And just like what's the difference, right? And Dempsey, you sort of made the point about like real currency versus video game currency. Because at the end of the day, like, what do I care if I blow all of my rosaries in Silksong? I can just go like farm more.
So I have 2 points, and I have two very, I guess, like opposing points on this, where one is healthy and one is unhealthy. So I'll start out with the healthy one. So I played Kingdom Come Deliverance over the last like few years. I started a few years ago. I only finished it the year before. And in Kingdom Come Deliverance, there's a dice game. It's called Farkle. And all you do is you take dice in a cup, you roll them. You can only score certain dice. So like you can score 1s and 5s, or you can score triples, quadruples, quintuples, or sextuples. You can also score straights, whatever. There's a whole bunch of rules. But I played this dice game in Kingdom Come Deliverance at one point more than I played the actual game. And my wife had to, like, every time she came down, she's like, oh, you're playing Kingdom Come? Oh, you're playing dice. Like, it's just, it became known to her. It wasn't Kingdom Come Deliverance. It was the dice game. Like, I was playing dice in this game so much because it's just so fun. Like, it's totally random until you start getting cheat dice. You can get loaded dice, and then it just becomes a means of profit in the game, right? So initially, before you have all that, it is just gambling. It's like, okay, I'm going to bet like 100 groschen or whatever their currency is. I think it's groschen, whatever. And we'll see if I win it back or not. But then you get later in the game and it starts being less gambling and more just like, okay, I know I'm going to win this because I have my dies that are just loaded on 1s or loaded on 5s or whatever it is. So I'm just going to win every time. So I get very addicted to those kinds of things in games. But that's also because there's no currency at stake, like no real world currency at stake. And I can play those games for hours and hours and hours on end because there's nothing actually at stake except for my in-game money, which if there's an issue with in-game money and me losing too much, I'm going to go and pickpocket the guy and get all my money back. Whereas in real life, if I go to a casino, I'm not going to, obviously, I don't have to say I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to. But then there's the other side. So I think that's a healthy version of gambling in games where it's very harmless. It's all in-game currency. There's literally nothing to lose. But then there's things like in high school, there was kind of like one of the peaks of Counter-Strike 2 or Counter-Strike Global Offensive. I guess it was, sorry. And of course, with Counter-Strike, there's the loot boxes and you get like the weapon skins and all that stuff. But you have to pay actual money for like the keys and cases. Or I think maybe you can get the cases and whatever. You have to pay actual money for these things. Like there's no way around that unless you just like sell stuff on Steam Marketplace and get it through that. Regardless, you have to spend money on these things to get these weapon skins. And then you sell the weapon skins for like Steam wallet currency. And then you use Steam wallet currency to buy more keys for more cases. And you just keep going, but you do have to put in your own investment. And I got into that in high school. And one of my friends got like, he says he got good at it. There's no way to get good at this. You're opening a random loot box for a random skin that could randomly be worth something. There's always a chase skin from every single thing that is worth like several $100s. He ended up getting one of those things and he bought me Dark Souls 2. And that's how I played Dark Souls 2 for the first time, was because my buddy made some stupid gambling things on Counter-Strike and ended up into a good skin. I would consider that very unhealthy gambling. And that is something that I don't get any joy out of because there is actually something on the line, which is my initial investment or my initial currency. And I think that's incredibly predatory for a lot of reasons.
Do you think the only thing that's different between those two examples is the fact that there's actual currency in one and not actual currency in the other one? Or do you think there's other things that are different too?
I think that for me, mostly, it is the fact that it is in-game currency versus actual currency needing to be spent. And this is like the same thing. I don't gamble in real life very often. Like I've gone to a casino like 3 times in my life and I'll bring $20, $50, whatever. As soon as I'm done that, I'm done because I understand that this is stupid and I can't let myself go down that hole. Because gambling sucks. But again, if it's in a game like Kingdom Come Deliverance where it's just in-game money, I will do that I'll do that for hours and hours on end because it's just fun to me. I like the idea of gambling because the idea of hitting like the jackpot or whatever is very, very enticing. But as soon as that becomes linked to real currency and I actually have something to lose, I don't get serotonin from that. Like, I will not get the dopamine rush from it because I'm actively losing something.
I think another thing about the reason why I don't think video games are a good place for, like, I don't think the kind of gambling, quote unquote, that we experience in video games that are not tied to real currency, but like just like in-game currency can ever feel like real gambling, is because I think with real gambling, you always have the possibility of going back to zero. And in a video game, they always want you to feel like you're making progression. So like just like getting the loaded dice. So you have this thing that's difficult at the beginning, it's really random, and then you can make it better, and that means that you're not going to lose. But the idea of in a video game losing everything, like losing all of your currency or all of your upgrades, or like, you know, like that idea of going back to zero, unless the game is built around that, like a roguelite or whatever, like that's never going to be a good experience because that's kind of antithetical to the progression that most games are built around. And so I think that's why video game gambling always has some way to tip the odds in your favor, because it needs to feel like you're making progress, like you're going towards a goal, like you're going to hit the credits at some point. And real life gambling doesn't have that point. You'll put $10,000, you'll lose you'll lose 5,000, you'll put another 10,000 and have 15,000, then lose 10, have 5 again. And like that's how they, and that's just not a very fun mechanic when you don't have.
Well, it's because winning feels good. when you win when you're gambling, it feels great.
Yeah. Yeah, but having such high consequences, I guess, having such high consequences that could impact like an entire game's play. Like right now, like for example, like if in Silksong, like there is a way to like gamble my crests and things like that, and you can just get reset like 60 hours of work down the drain.
I would never do it. I wouldn't do it in that case.
That would not be worth the development time to make that a mechanic, because no one would interact with that.
Could you imagine the speedrun strat though?
Yeah, it's literally like Black Knight Halberd speedrun from Dark Souls 1, where you're just hoping on RNG.
Yeah, so I think, yeah, because real life gambling, that the stakes can be way higher. And like not even because it's fake currency. Like I'm not even saying the stakes can be higher in real life because it's real money. Even if it was the same amount of money, just how real life gambling works, there's nothing to mitigate that. Whereas in video games, you always want to be mitigating risk as a developer. So yeah, I think it's fundamentally different. Like the kind of betting that people make actual money on is always going to be fundamentally different from the kind of betting that's fun to do with virtual currency.
I agree, and I think that's a really good point. I have, unless you have something to say, Seth, I have another question that kind of comes out of this.
Quick thing then, which is, one thing I've been thinking about a lot in terms of like anything has been like, what are my goals versus what is somebody else's goals, right? So like if I'm thinking about gambling, I'm thinking about like, okay, I'm playing a slot machine. What are the goals of the person who owns the slot machine, right? Like they clearly, the reason they own this is because it makes them money. And if I put money in and they make money by me putting money in, critical thinking, like one step ahead, means that I can never go positive, right?
Yeah.
So like, but Dempsey, this is your point about the video game, right? Like the game developer wants me to have fun playing their game.
Sure.
So they're not going to design the gambling in such a way that it's not fun. But like a casino wants to take all of my money, so they're going to design the games to take all of my money.
Yeah, but Seth, someone's going to hit the jackpot, and it could be you.
It could be you.
That's the thing.
Right.
Is that, yeah, on average, the casino's going to make money.
but I'm built different.
But but like, there's no statistical, there's no like absolute reason it can't be you.
But it's
unless you never spin in the first place, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
God.
Wayne Gretzky, Michael Scott.
Don't bring up my hometown hero. So, and that kind of goes into the point that I was going to say is kind of like, do you think that the gamification of gambling has gotten, I mean, it has gotten significantly worse in the last several years. Like even since the pandemic, like now I don't have to go to the convenience store to get scratch tickets anymore or lotto tickets. I can download an app. I can download the OLG app and I can literally just get things from my phone. I have to do nothing except for put my credit card or my PayPal information in there, and I can buy as many lottery tickets as I possibly want.
That's so
I
fucked.
think
That's
it's terrible.
fucked.
It's so bad.
It's
and I have
awful.
friends who are like, I'll go over and like, he's just like doing a scratcher on the app. And I'm like, what the heck? It's not even fun. Like you're missing the best part, which is scratching the thing off. Like that's the cool part of it. Like this just sucks. Like, but I think that the gamification of gambling has gotten significantly worse in the last years, especially again, since the pandemic. Do you think that's kind of made its way into video games as a whole, or do you think that it's just kind of like the gambling sector who's trying to take away from video games for their own? I don't know how else to articulate that.
I don't know. I feel like for me it's really hard to comment on that because I don't play multiplayer games. Like I don't play games that are really easily monetizable in that way. Like so like if I played like FIFA or Destiny or like some live service stuff, I think I would be more in tune with that. But like I think I played like I played a little bit of Splitgate, which is like a free to play battle royale.
It's like the Portal Titanfall.
Yeah, it's Portal. Yeah, I really like the idea. But like I do feel like it's made to kind of around microtransactions. Like the idea of a game with that mechanic that's a single player campaign or whatever, that I think I would enjoy that, but I played it for like 3 hours and then never went back to it because it felt like it was built around making me spend money, which is not like, it's just not a fun gameplay loop. Like literally, like just like the gameplay loop itself is not very fun to me. So I don't know. I do think that like the typical example of this is Balatro, which uses Balatro and Vampire Survivors, which use the aesthetics of gambling in a way that is not predatory, I would say. And I think that gambling, like, I think that video games have taken a lot more from gambling than gambling has taken from video games. Because have you ever seen that talk at, I think it was at GDC, the Games Developers Conference, about how to make your games more addicting?
No.
So like it's one of the most fascinating talks it's a morally neutral talk. It's like one of the few morally neutral talks I've ever heard in my life. And it's just this guy being like, okay, you have to prey on FOMO. And you have to normalize it. And so you're going to give like, for the first 6 months, everyone's going to get a lot of free stuff. And then the people who come after are going to see everyone else having the stuff that they have to pay for now. And so they're not going to feel part of the community unless they pay for the stuff. And so, and then like the people who stick around, who are always at the beginning of events, you give them a bunch of free stuff. And the people who join later, they're going to feel like they have to spend money to catch up to the people who got their stuff for free. And so like and he was talking about whales, like how to create whales and how to figure out maximize for whales and like the line between when you're not getting any more whales because no one wants to play your game versus when you could be maximizing whales more. And like what is like the idea of like cutting costs, like having everything on sale, basically like having things egregious amounts of money just so you can put them on sale later. And so like it's a really fascinating talk. Maybe I'll put the link in the description. And it's this guy, it's like the most evil, like it's just like a really morally, and like I think like that, like those elements of like social and like kind of psychological, like I guess I don't know how much they have found their way into single player games. Like I don't know how much of Baldur's Gate like is built around establishing a norm. Like maybe the NPCs are establishing norms that I as a player then, because I want to be accepted by the NPCs, submit to those norms that are always already pre-established, so I don't feel like I'm being countercultural. Like I guess I don't really see those elements in single player games because of the fact that they're not predatory. I just think they're part of the experience of like making me feel a certain emotion. And so like in Baldur's Gate, when all the NPCs act away and all the other characters kind of model how to use combat, I don't think of it as social conditioning. I think of it as it tutorializing these mechanics in a way that gets me there faster. Now, they are named NPCs and they have voice lines and they have goals and motivations. And so that would be a form of social conditioning. But like in a microtransaction game where you're trying to social condition people to spend more money, it doesn't feel the same. And so from like a design perspective, there's more back and forth than I think. But I just feel like from kind of what I've noticed, I don't know. I also don't know how much of a game gambling is. Like how much strategy there is to it. I guess the idea is like if you're sports betting, you're like, you have sports podcasts you're listening to, you're trying to get the inside scoop of which players are injured or like who has a bad personal life. Like if a quarterback's going through a breakup, maybe he's like more likely to throw interceptions or whatever. Like, is that the idea behind sports betting? Like you just keep up with these teams so heavily that you think you can predict what's going to happen?
For me, so I've been part of a fantasy football league for like so much longer, like 8 years now. I'm bad at fantasy football. I won my second year by fluke. But like what I've learned, it's the exact same concept with like fantasy football where like you're just looking at players and you're looking at trends and you're trying to keep up. The more you watch the games, obviously the better you're going to be, but that's exactly what it is. It's like you're looking at all these players and it's who knows the game the best or who knows the players the best. Because if you know that Travis Kelce just got engaged to Taylor Swift, you know he's probably playing the best that he's ever played in his life because he's on a high. Whereas, it's like, it's stupid stuff like this where like you have to know that stuff, I think, in order to do sports betting effectively, which...
No, but I think when it comes down to it, that's the fallacy. It's like being like, oh, if I know what's happening at these companies, I can beat the market.
Yeah, 100%. This is,
But like, put your money into the S&P 5...
I think it's true.
No, you will always lose out against the market.
The S&P 500 always makes more than you.
Yeah, day trading will never just beat throwing your money into the market and waiting 30 years for it to like appreciate value. Like, okay, yeah, you can hit the lottery and, you could put $50,000 into some penny stock that, increases by 50,000% and you become the richest person in the world for like a microsecond. But it's not going to happen, and you're going to blow a lot of money thinking that you could beat the market when like I don't think it matters how much sports stuff you watch. You're not going to do any better than like somebody who's just like, yeah, I think they've put a 1 to 2 odds on this and I think it's really like a 1 to 1.5.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think I fundamentally disagree just on sports betting, just having seen people who do it and know people who do it.
I don't believe it
more effectively. But I don't think it's infallible. I don't think that the people who think that they're
watch
the best
the video
at it,
I posted. Dempsey put my video in there too.
I just think I don't think it's infallible. I do think that there is a certain amount of strategy to certain things, and I think that goes back to what Dempsey was saying initially, where there's a difference between betting and gambling, where it's like with sports betting, if you know what you're doing, you're going to make money at some point, no matter how much it is. I'm not saying you're going to be rich, but like I can make $3 off a bet if I know what's going to happen. And if I make $3 on every bet that I do every single week, if I make $3 for 52 weeks of the year, I'm not going to do the math on that. I've made
Brett,
$162.
The more I disagree with you. I want you
Oh, man. All right.
The more I think, no, that is exactly what they want you to think. This is a conspiracy.
Yeah.
So I think, because the thing is, imagine like a single Reddit thread of a guy who beats the app. Like, that would be the most significant financial Reddit thread in the history of finance. Like, if you had a surefire way to always make money, right? Like, that would be like if you had a single person who says, I can make money, just make the same bets that I do, and that was a real thing, that would be like, yeah, which is why it doesn't exist. Like, that would be the most significant person on the internet. if you just did what he did. And
but this is the goals thing, right? Like my goal is to make money, but the app's goal is for me to not make money. So like they're going to specifically design their app so that I make the least amount of money possible and give them as much money as possible. But also, like, to your point, right? You're like, oh, if I just put like $3 into this once a week and I make like the most obvious bet. Yeah, but like you and every other dude on the planet who's doing sports betting has the exact same mentality. Sure, you might be smarter than them and maybe your money lasts longer, but like you're going to bottom out maybe 3 weeks after the rest of them do.
What's the percentage? Like, it has to be. Like, I think statistically,
We're just going in on Brett.
No,
Sorry,
this
Brett.
is fine. No, this is fine. And this is why, I'll say this. This is why I don't gamble. And this is why, like, again, I did sports betting one time and I'm like, oh, I made a lot of money on one bet and then I lost it. And I'm just like, yeah, this is stupid. Like, this sucks. Like, why would I do this? I can understand how some people make money off of it. I'm just not one of those people. So this is why I don't gamble, and I think that needs to be made very clear.
I mean, I'm same page. I've never stepped foot in a casino. I don't have plans to, because I do have like the personality that I think I could actually ruin my life.
Just go into the casino for the free sody pop.
Sure, but like I do live near a bunch of casinos, but like. I have no incentive to do so, and free soda is not enough of an incentive.
So I think here's my thing about gambling. So this is that I'll take some TikTok hate. So a couple reasons I don't gamble. The first and most important reason is because I am pretentious and I think gambling is trashy. I think aesthetically, genuinely, that's the biggest reason I don't gamble, is because I think it's trashy. I live by a bunch of like strip mall casinos, bars with slot machines, like dive bar and like 70 slot machines or whatever kind of vibe. And I just think it's it's an aesthetically gross thing to do. Now, having said that, I think I would be likely to gamble at a nicer casino because, again, I am easily manipulated. And so if I see
if
myself
the vibe is good,
if the vibe is good, I think I would be more willing to gamble. The first time I gambled, I think I technically stole from the casino because what I did is the casino.
Off the record, not.
We'll see if Brett leaves us in. It's time for Dempsey to admit to crimes. But the casino would print out your account, right, for slots on pieces of paper. So it didn't give you actual money. It gave you a little barcode that you can scan. You can either cash it out or scan. Here's the thing. You can also scan these at other things. And if it's less than a quarter, sometimes people would just leave them in there. And so I would go around to all the slot machines and check if someone left their little piece of paper in, and I got enough for a ticket and I made $5.
I don't think that's inherently wrong. I think, you're capitalizing on other people missing out on their quarters.
And so, but that's the only time I ever gambled at a casino. But I think like now as a but that was, I was like 18 and like 2 months. This was for my high school. It was like a high school trip. We all went to a cabin and drank. And then, and then, you know what? Okay. You know what? Someone, and Brett, welcome to How We Bully Each Other. I promise you it's been worse than this, because this is how we bully each other. You know how someone talks about how they're good at gambling sounds? In high school, you ever had your high school friends talk about how they're actually better at driving when they're drunk?
Oh, yeah. I have one friend who's like, no, I can't drive unless I'm high. I'm like, no, no, I'm not getting in a car with you. That's
how it sounds when people are like, I can beat the app. I can beat the app. It has the same energy as the people who are like, no, I'm actually better at driving when I'm drunk. It's like, and anyways, and so that's the biggest reason why I don't gamble. And even with microtransaction games, because I think I see myself as like an artsy, thoughtful gamer. And so the idea of buying a Fortnite skin is just like gross to me. Like, so like for me, the aesthetic consideration is the major point. Like, it's just ew. And maybe culturally, if it becomes more acceptable to like buy skins and things like that, like I would like, because I bought the deluxe edition. So Clara Obscura came out, right? And I bought the base edition. And then about halfway through, I was like, oh my God, this might be my game of the year. And I went back and I bought and I upgraded my purchase to the deluxe edition. I bought the little DLC. And all that is like some new outfits, the baguette outfits, the French ones, and the flower ones. And so like in that moment, I paid a little bit more for cosmetic, right? Like that is basically me buying a skin, but my brain can never see it that way because that is what stupid people who play Fortnite do, not people who play Clair Obscura do. And so, yeah, for me, like the ethics and the psychology are very secondary to just like the aesthetics and the vibes of it, I guess.
See, and I am the person, admittedly, that when I play Marvel Rivals, and you talking about the monetization of games, you explained Marvel Rivals exactly to a T. That is their entire monetization strategy. I am the person who will get sucked in by the skins because I think they're very neat. But it has to be someone who I
boobs,
like main.
Right? Isn't that what they're famous for?
So like, yeah, but it's like, yeah, exactly. So, but it's like, I bought like, I have like 3 Magic skins because I just think Magic is really neat. But I put
that's my
$10.
favorite. Hold on.
Oh, okay.
Pause. That's my favorite comic book character.
Really?
Rasputin.
Oh, dude, same. Yeah, she's so sick.
Yeah,
she's like the coolest thing in the world.
Yeah, she grew up in hell. She's my favorite. I have her run where she showed up in the New Mutants, like back in the 80s. I love her so much. Anyways, she would be who I would main too, just because she's my favorite.
So I mained her because I'm like, I didn't know about her until Marvel Rivals, and then I'm like, who's lady with big sword? I'm like, yeah. I need lady with big sword. I see lady with big sword. I'm like, oh, that's what I need. And so I played Magic, and then she turns into a demon, and I'm like, lady, big sword, turn into a demon, monkey brain, go burr. And so I put $10 into a free game, and I got a skin. And ever since, I'm like, I'm not putting any more money into this game. I'll just use the in-game currency and grind it out if I want to get more skins. But I am the person who is susceptible to, oh, that's a really cool aesthetic for this person in the game, so I'm going to do that so I'm aesthetically better than everyone else. And I will fall into that trap, and I know I will. And I have a very hard, fast rule with these live service games where if I do play one, I will pay exactly one time for like $10 or whatever, and I will not pay again. Because I cannot allow myself to go down that rabbit hole, or I will get obsessed with collecting skins, because that's just kind of the person I am. So
I also like the idea that like there's a difference between monetizing, and I think I've said this before, the idea that there is a difference between monetizing skins and monetizing like gameplay. I think that's bullshit, because the aesthetic qualities of a game are like a big thing of what the game is. And it's because I think a lot of people like this idea of pay to win, right? Pay to win is kind of unacceptable. You're not supposed to be able to buy better guns and things like I actually don't know how common pay to win is, or if it's a thing.
I think it's more or less not like pretty frowned upon nowadays. I think it's mostly aesthetic.
Yeah. So like, but like that's how I feel when I have to pay for a skin, because I am like, look, this whole thing is just pixels on a screen. It's all art, and now I have to pay a microtransaction for art, and that feels like the same for me. That feels like the same as paying for a more powerful gun, because the reason I'm playing the game is for the aesthetic experience. And so like for me, that like my brain doesn't make a differentiation between pay to win and monetizing cosmetics. Like if you put like the idea of like horse armor in Skyrim, where like you have to pay for an aesthetic thing, like that is crappy, because you like it doesn't matter if it doesn't affect the game. It's a different form of expression, form of player experience that's being brought into the game that some people are locked out of. And I'm not saying that's horrible.
It's a thing that everyone should have just had access to initially, because it's a feature of the game. And I think I agree with that.
Yeah, I think it's a feature of the game. And so, and I'm not saying that microtransactions or that like pay to live service or Because, like, I think, like, I don't even know how these games are monetized. So sometimes you can buy a skin, but sometimes you buy, like, the game for a certain amount of time, right? And then you have to progress.
You grind
through the
out
game.
in-game currency, or you can buy out-of-game currency to just do it faster.
Sure,
Like,
but like, then what's a season pass? Because a season pass, you
buy the season pass and you get more in-game currency and usually skins that other people don't have access to. So basically, like, they'll put in like 5 or 6 skins that you can only get if you have the season pass. And then once the pass is gone, those skins are locked, so they play on FOMO, right?
Sure.
So it's so that's it. But I think we're coming up on, well, we're past time here, I guess. But
okay, I'll do my final thoughts, and we'll end with Seth because it was his episode. So Seth gets last word. So this is what I'll say. I think that if you, and I think this is how most people. I'm going to end on a philosophical note. I think most people make moral decisions around aesthetics, that they consider that icky to be the type of person who does X, Y, Z, and that's why they don't do it. And I think that's an arbitrary way to do it. But if that aligns with healthy practices, that makes making moral choices a lot easier because you're going to make those aesthetic choices anyways. So as far as gambling goes, I'm very happy that my aesthetics line up with what is healthy for me. Okay, Brett, what's your final thoughts?
I mean, that's kind of where I'm at too, is like, I think I just want to say, I think gambling's terrible. Just like gambling is very predatory and upsetting. And I'm glad that I don't have the personality that really gets into gambling, because if I have something to lose, I will not do it. And if I do it, I will do it one time with a set amount of money that I am okay with losing. Because I think if you go into gambling, you have to understand what you're willing to lose. I'm very good at being able to rationalize that. I'm glad that I am, because the world is too predatory. And I like the gambling mechanics. And if I were willing to lose anything, I think I would just go broke. But yeah, because in a lot of gaming, because you don't have anything to lose, like I can just play dice for 6 hours and the only thing that I lose is my wife's respect. And that's sometimes okay. So, Seth, what are your final thoughts?
Couple big things. One, you can't beat the market. I think just the general idea of gambling for me is something like I don't like super understand. Aside from like, yeah, there is a little bit of aesthetic, something like Vampire Survivors or Balatro, or I mean even like Clover Pit, Luck Be a Landlord, like these games that have gambling vibes, I think are healthy because it lets you sort of do the gambling without the gambling. I enjoy those games, but I would never, like, I have no desire to step foot in a casino because, like, in the back of my head, I'm like, wow, I could really blow a lot of money here, and that's bad.
What if it's a fancy casino, like James Bond casino? Would you do it then?
Like, no.
Okay.
Because I wouldn't find myself in that place in the first place. But I mean, I guess it's better than like, well, I guess there's nothing stopping you from like taking out a loan and then trying to gamble all of it. But have you guys ever seen Wall Street Bets, the subreddit?
Yeah.
Dempsey, you do? Okay.
Yeah.
Because what a place. I love me a good Wall Street Bets visit.
It just comes up on my For You, or like it comes up like in the like subreddits you might like, even though I don't follow any gambling subreddits.
They're full conspiracy theory mode, right? At this point,
I have no idea, but it's just fun to see somebody who just made like literally like a $1.5 million, and then the follow-up post is some guy who's down like $300K. I lost it all. And sometimes it's the same guy on 2 consecutive days, and sometimes it's 2 different guys. But anyway, point 1, you're not going to beat the market. Don't try. I think you just shouldn't gamble in the first place. But 2, I do like some of the aesthetics of gambling, and I think it's fun, but I would never actually do it. Yeah. Who's going to close us out?
Today was October 2nd, 2025. I'm trying to say the date more often. Please, if you have opinions on gambling or like my slightly classist take on what it means to gamble at a dive bar, feel free to email in. Emails in the show notes. You can yell at us on TikTok. I should be making more of those. And we have thumbnails now. So if you want to go to YouTube and check out our thumbnails, that's a new thing that that's happening. Other than that, I've been Dempsey. Bye.
Wait. Did we plug everything? Blue Sky, Twitter. I don't know what else.
We're not
there
on
is.
Twitter.
Bye.
We're not on Twitter.
Oh, okay. Don't gamble. See you guys.